Hi, I just wanted to make a quick preface to this video. The contents of the video speaks for itself. I recorded that maybe a week or 10 days ago, and it's only gotten hotter since then, with no end in sight, at least through the whole month of July, usually into August as well. What I wanted to say in this preface is that I think I found a way I can do some simple editing on the video, and if that's the case, then I'll be able to post this video. Like I said, I recorded this that you're about to see a while back, but the things I wanted to edit in there to illustrate my point, with the latest car repair, I'm not gonna have money. I'm not gonna have money for a new computer. It's gonna be months before I have a new computer. So what I did was I tried to find an alternative way to edit some videos that's not going to be as slick as it was before, but just if I have to throw something in there, like you're going to see some things in this video, National Weather Service sounds, and a small portion of the bug and spider bites and things that I refer to in the video. So anyway, I just want to point out why there's a bit of editing in this thing. If this works, then I'll post the video, I guess. If it doesn't, I guess I'll hold on to this because I need to edit in those things to make the point clear. It's the middle of the night right now. It's hotter than it was when I made this video you're about to see. I believe it's 83 degrees right now, in the middle of the night. Anyway, here's the video. Thanks for watching. Hello and welcome to the Homeless Consultant channel. My name is Paul B. I am the Homeless Consultant. And I don't know when I'll be able to actually post this video because this one will need to be edited. And it is currently June 30th, I believe, June 30th, Saturday night, Sunday morning, and there's a excessive heat warning, but I wanted to give you some idea of what it's like. So keep in mind at this time, this is the time period when my computer is gone, so I have absolutely nothing to do sitting in this car. Somebody has made it impossible for me to sleep at Walmart, so I really can't sleep at all. Although obviously I doze off here and there, but I can't sleep. This is the time period. That's why I can't edit this video yet. So it's about, 1 in the morning, and the temperature, I'm not sure, it's in the high 70s, I believe. But being in this car, especially given the possibility that I could doze off, I have to put the windows up for a couple of reasons. For one thing, if I don't, my legs are completely eaten up by mosquitoes and spiders already. And if I have those windows down and I fall asleep, not only will I be eaten alive by these bugs, and who knows what's going to crawl into this car, but it puts me at serious security risk. If people come up here, it doesn't take much to reach down and pop the lock and open the door or something. It puts me at physical risk. So I have to have these windows not just up, but locked, not the little crack. I have to have these windows completely up. outside this car it's about 77 degrees, and inside the car typically it's going to be 10 to 15 degrees hotter. So again, imagine trying to sleep. I mean, I don't know if you can even see what's going on here. Can you see the sweat on me? Can you see that? This is just the definition of misery. So here's let me see if I can try to demonstrate something here. Alright, so here's just a piece of paper towel, fresh off the roll, nice and dry. Okay, so I'm just going to put it on my forehead here. Okay, can you see what's going on with this now? Can you see that? Okay, that's, can you see that? I mean, this thing is completely drenched now. It's completely soaked. If I were to do everything, my hair, which is dripping, my neck, I mean, look, it's falling apart now. It's all wet. It's just destroyed. It's wet. It's soaked. Okay, and this is at, I can't see without my glasses, so it's a bit after midnight, and I don't know if midnight at 1 o'clock. Now, even if I were allowed to sleep legally, how could I? How can you sleep in this temperature? How can you do so safely? My whole body is drenched like that. I have this little portable fan hanging from my neck. I mean, it does nothing. It produces this tiny, itty-bitty little flow of air. I can barely feel, but it's not even enough to dry off my neck, and the thing's hanging right here below my neck. My neck is still soaked. I just wiped my neck, and it's already drenched with the fan blowing on it. Other than that, in the car, I have this thing. I have this big fan, if you can see it. Alright, this is a battery-powered fan. This thing, I can't even really feel that it's doing anything, to be honest. I can't even feel. I mean, I think the batteries are going out already. The batteries in this thing last about 6 hours. It takes 6 D-sized batteries. So in other words, it takes about $5 to run this thing for 6 hours, which isn't even one night's sleep, even if I were allowed to sleep. On high, it will run a bit longer if it's on low, but you can't feel anything. Honestly, this thing's on, I can't even feel the wind coming off of it. So I think the batteries are already dead, and I just changed them out before I got into this car tonight after work. My entire body is completely drenched in sweat. I have to go into work tomorrow and the day after, where Minnesota provides no place for the homeless to maintain their hygiene. So I have to go into the workplace after being drenched in this kind of sweat all night long. I'm not allowed to sleep because somebody has prevented me from being able to sleep at Walmart. Alright, so it's Saturday night, Sunday morning. I don't get to sleep until Tuesday night, when I get to go pay for a hotel room, get to pay more for that than I did for my apartment, just to stay there for 2 nights and half a day. So in other words, 1.5 days, about 36 hours I'll actually be in the hotel. And that's when I get to sleep. I mean, this is just absolute misery. I mean, I'm already drenched again. I mean, look at that. This is craziness. Now here's where it gets really bizarre. Okay, the state of Minnesota, look at that. It's just drenched. You can almost squeeze the water out of it. And that's just my forehead. My whole body's like this. This thing, here's the part I have to edit in here. Okay, the state of Minnesota feels that this is just fine for the homeless to live in these kinds of conditions. It's perfectly fine. They don't do anything about it. They don't provide shelters, especially for men. They don't provide any kind of hygiene facilities so we can clean up after sweating like this for days and days on end when they have these heat waves. They built a football stadium instead. Let me remind you, they built a football stadium for a privately owned company instead. Privately owned sports team. The American Gladiators, who distract the masses from paying attention to what's actually important. What I need to edit in here when I get a computer is the National Weather Service weather report for right now. And I will edit that in. And the things I want to point out with that is that the National Weather Service, whenever they have a heat advisory, they say, vulnerable people, are at risk. They say it's life-threatening. They say that heat stroke is a medical emergency. Call 911 if you're having heat stroke or heat illnesses. I guess I'm lucky I'm healthy and strong, but I sure don't feel good. And don't forget, this is the period when, thanks to me not being able to sleep or anything, my computer dying and having to raise money for that, I'm not eating well. I've got diarrhea every single day. So I have diarrhea along with this horrific conditions here. Outside that window are temperatures that are maybe 10 degrees cooler. Well, not cooler, 10 degrees less hot. But I can't open the window because I'm so tired there's a chance I could fall asleep like I did when I destroyed my computer. And if I do that, I put my life at risk. Because any one of these housed creeps who like to troll around at night, these drug dealers and all these people who are housed with homes, even though drug dealers aren't known for working for a living like I do, they travel around places like this at night and they will come up and mess with you. They will come up and see if there's anything they can steal in your car. There's some real weirdos out there. I ain't leaving these windows open if there's even the possibility that I could ever doze off. But because of that, it's 10 to 15 degrees hotter in here than it is out there, and the air in here is just putrid stench. Remember, I have diarrhea, and I can't do anything about it because the state of Minnesota doesn't provide any hygiene facilities. So I can start up the car, drive to a gas station to try to deal with that if it ain't too late. What I'm going to edit in here later is some analysis of the National Weather Service report for all the danger they say this is, and how they specifically mention vulnerable people, and what they mention are children and the elderly. And then they'll say, people, oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting cotton mouth, I don't even have anything to drink. Oh, great, now I got cotton mouth from talking. I shouldn't have done this. Crap. Anyway, I'll edit in the rest later. I had to demonstrate this liquid forehead of mine, liquid body. But the National Weather Service doesn't mention a word about the homeless. 10,000 homeless people just in Minnesota who are outside by definition in this kind of stuff that the National Weather Service says is life-threatening. They're saying if you feel the effects of this, call 911. It is an emergency. Which is frankly what I should be doing right about now. I mean, the headaches, the throbbing headaches I get in these heat waves. But the National Weather Service never mentions the homeless, not even once. As if they're just, it's almost like they're not relevant. Like it's okay if they suffer and die. The National Weather Service mentions one other group other than children and the homeless when they're talking about vulnerable, in this kind of temperatures. That other group is pets. They say do not leave pets inside cars. The temperatures in cars can rapidly rise to lethal temperatures. So they talk about children, the elderly, and animals. They don't even mention the homeless. Is it any wonder that people out there don't give a damn about the homeless in these circumstances? Friends, this is human suffering. All I have to keep me alive right now, to keep me halfway, well, I'm not comfortable. I'm just not, and I'm not going to be comfortable. The only thing I have to keep me from being even more miserable is this ridiculous fan that produces nothing no air, and I have to replace the batteries about every 4 hours, which costs money. That big fan that runs out doesn't do anything for me. And a fan means nothing because it's blowing around air that's 80 degrees in the middle of the night. I can't work myself up like this. Shoot, now I gotta go drive somewhere to get some liquid. I'm sorry, I've got cotton mouth. I can't go on this way. Thanks for watching. I'll edit in some analysis of the National Weather Service stuff.
The National Weather Service in Twin Cities, Chanhassen, has issued an excessive heat warning. Temperature, highs of 90 to 95 Friday, combined with dew points in the upper 70s, will make for heat indices of 100 to 110 degrees Friday afternoon. Low temperatures will only fall to 70 to 75, providing little relief from the heat. The following impacts are expected. The high heat indices during the day will lead to increased risk for heat-related illness for those active outdoors or with limited access to air conditioning. Take extra precautions if you work or spend time outside. When possible, reschedule strenuous activities to early morning or evening. Know the signs and symptoms of heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Wear lightweight and loose-fitting clothing when possible and drink plenty of water. To reduce risk during outdoor work, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration recommends scheduling frequent rest breaks in shaded or air-conditioned environments. Anyone overcome by heat should be moved to a cool and shaded location. Heat stroke is an emergency. Call 911. An excessive heat warning means that a prolonged period of dangerously hot temperatures will occur. The combination of hot temperatures and high humidity will combine to create a dangerous situation in which heat illnesses are likely. Drink plenty of fluids, stay in an air-conditioned room, stay out of the sun, and check up on relatives and neighbors. Young children and pets should never be left unattended in vehicles under any circumstances. This is especially true during warm or hot weather when car interiors can reach lethal temperatures in a matter of minutes.
To summarize then, I'd just like to point out a few things. First of all, the National Weather Service website, when you search the entire federal government National Weather Service website, produces no results related to the impact of weather conditions on the homeless, on homeless people, which by some estimates is from 1.5 to 3% of the population of the United States of America. Millions of people. In Minnesota, it's estimated to be about 10,000 people. Those results only bring up references to people being made homeless in natural disasters, and then they're just forgotten about. This heat advisory warning reminds me of warnings in the Cold War about what to do during a nuclear attack. That didn't sound like people were very safe, did it? And yet there was not a single mention of Minnesota's 10,000 homeless people or America's millions of homeless people. It's almost as if those people aren't relevant. It's almost as if it doesn't matter if the weather impacts them adversely. It doesn't matter if they live or die, as I have said so many times in these videos. Is this just neglect? Have over the decades that the National Weather Service has existed, have they just neglected? Nobody ever thought about throwing in something about the homeless people? Or is it something more like osteo-phobia, where the people involved have a just visceral, bitter, bile-spitting hatred for the homeless? They disgust these people at the Weather Service, so they don't even want to mention them. I'll give you two more things to think about. If aliens from outer space came down and landed or hovered above in orbit, and they just listened to the National Weather Service for 5 minutes or for 50 years, based on what you've seen here, if aliens from outer space came down and they listened to the Weather Service talking about hurricanes, tornadoes, heat, blizzards, hail, would those aliens, after however many years, 50, 500 years of listening to that, would they even know that homeless people exist? And my question to you is this: if those aliens wouldn't know it by listening to the Weather Service for that long, how do all the American people know about it? Because it's not being brought into their consciousness. And as much as I have always loved weather spotting and meteorology, the science behind it, and the service of it, I have to say I'm beyond disappointed that the National Weather Service, which had an opportunity to keep reminding people over and over and over again for decades that homeless people exist, so that people might become aware of the fact that homeless people exist, and they might actually start to care about helping those people. But the Weather Service hasn't done that. And the last thing I'd like to mention is that the reason I know so much about weather, the reason I have that weather radio, is because when I went to graduate school, I did so in Tornado Alley. And throughout my duration there, I was a volunteer for Skywarn. I put my neck, my property on the line. I put my well-being on the line to protect and serve the people of the region that I was in the most dangerous tornado activity area in the world. And look at the gratitude I get. Nobody will help me. I hope you'll think about all the things in these videos, and I'm very, very grateful to you for watching.